Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're all doing well, and today my friends are back with a showdown here between the Abbasid and the Holy Roman Empire. It's going to be Doubt facing off against Kasva. Let's jump into this game and have some fun. Certainly two of my favorite civilizations to play as well as watch. We are going to be on Hill and Dale. So Hill and Dale is a map that certainly opens up opportunities for a lot of the more defensive civilizations. So for example, if you're playing China, although I think China has dynamic enough play and good early game pressure with the supervisors, that I wouldn't put them quite in the same ballpark as like the Abbasid, but the Abbasid really do enjoy this because pretty much the dominant playstyle for the Abbasid that a lot of people do, it might not always win games, but is the double TC, right? So we see the double TC taking advantage of the fresh foodstuffs, which makes their villagers cost 50% less, and then they're able to just go bananas with that and enjoy their best lives. So we'll see what they can do. Now for the Holy Romans down here, dropping some good old Jesus here on the villagers. Going to be making them work 40% faster and gather 40% more resources. Here we do have 3 villagers going to set up the mining camp here on the east side, and a pretty standard opening for both players. Now, as far as the Abbasid goes, we do not see the House of Wisdom coming out super quickly because it's not necessary. Basically, you can build the House of Wisdom a little bit closer to when you're ready to be teching up, and you can even use the lumber to get an early lumber camp if you'd like and get extra mining and all that sort of neat stuff. But anyways, for the Abbasid, and you do sometimes see fast castle age as well. That is something we've seen a bit because the double TC is very vulnerable to being punished, but I think due to the map, the fact that it is the Hill and Dale, which is very easy to choke off. I mean, you have 3 entry points into your base, 1 here, 1 in the middle, and 1 on the west side. You can set up some wooden palisades, which if somebody does rush, it gives you a ton of extra time to kind of prepare for it. So, and you could even do the Haggard double wall if you want to. You set one up on the low ground like this, like going across, and then one up a little bit higher to put layers and layers for your opponent to have to get through. So I would predict here that Doubt is going to be going for the double TC. But again, the biggest tell for that is what you do is when you're playing Abbasid, you want to mine a total of 325 gold here in the Dark Ages. And why 325? Well, you need 200 to go to the Feudal Ages, and then you need 125 basically to get the fresh foodstuffs. And that allows you then to pull your workers once you get 325 and put them on stone so you can build that second TC very quickly. So we get our lumber camp coming up here for the Holy Romans. No lumber yet, just hitting the gold pretty hard, and also 8 villagers on food. So again, what you do for the Holy Romans is you just get enough food to go, and then you move the prelate over to the gold. Now, I casted a game from Marine Lord a couple days ago, and the difference between his build and this one here from Kasva is that you can see we have 7 workers on food here. Well, what he did is when he got enough food right now, you can see, oh no, Kasva's the Holy Romans. Okay, I got him a little bit. My brain's all over the place, I'm sorry. But he pulled some of his villagers over to gold, because when you get that prelate initially, it's going to put you down to 0 gold. So the route to 200 gold does take a little bit longer. Now, the House of Wisdom, we are going to be getting the economic wing, which will be unlocking the fresh foodstuffs. So it looks like Doubt here most likely going to be going for the juicy double TC. Although no, we don't see the 2 stone yet, and he has not reached the 125 extra that he's going to be needing for fresh foodstuffs. So that's going to be the big determining factor. Fast castle isn't bad either. I mean, there's a multitude of strategies for the Abbasid. They can rush okay in the Feudal Age. Unfortunately, camel units kind of just suck, but what you can do is go like double archery range, and since you get siege engineering for free, you know, that's a nice little one. You can spend the gold on upgrades elsewhere. So, and against Holy Romans, I think feudal pressure could be pretty good. I mean, most Holy Roman players and their dogs and cats and hamsters, and I would imagine Kasva here will be going for fast castle just to try and get the Regnant's Cathedral online. Unfortunately, the civilization is a little bit one-dimensional in that regard. Like the other playstyles, like, yeah, you can build mine work, yeah, you can build Burgrave, but they're just so suboptimal in my opinion that you typically don't see those. So hopefully that's something that the developers will address eventually, is the one-dimensional kind of options you have for many of these civilizations. I'm trying to think of like a civ that actually has good flexible options across the board. Okay, so the prelate actually went into the TC for a second. He's doing like a little bit of a dance here, just running in circles, which is quite interesting. But are we seeing the stone switch? No, it looks like he's building a barracks here. Okay, so we might actually see some aggression coming in from the Abbasid, which against Holy Romans I think makes sense. Holy Romans can get the early men-at-arms though, which can certainly fight back. But okay, so thinking about civilizations which have good tactical and flexible options, in terms of all of their landmarks, we have the Mongols they have the deer stones, which are really good, and they have the silver tree, which is good, probably a little bit less good, but still 100% viable. And at the next age, they have Steppe Redoubt and Kurultai. Steppe Redoubt's in probably one of the best landmarks in the entire game, and the Kurultai is situationally quite good for aggressive Mongol play. In terms of their age 4 landmark, like, yeah, they have like the White Stupa, which is objectively better than the Khaganate Palace, but they're both like okay. That's the thing, right? So pretty much all Mongol landmarks are good. England has a pretty good split of landmarks too. Their feudal age options are pretty like one-sided. Like Council Hall is just so much better, so you're not really going to see that ever being done. The other one, which I don't even know the name because it's never used. I think it's like the something, I don't know, the never used landmark. That shall not be named, but it's the one that basically just gives you healing. But England's other landmarks are okay. In Castle Age, you have pretty good options. You have like a really good keep, or you also have a new TC. Imperial Age, it's pretty much always going to be Berkshire Palace. Wingard Palace is a bit of a meme, but I mean, it still is better than landmarks that many other civilizations have. So yeah, really Mongols have the good ones, but for the most part, I would like to see some diversification of landmarks that are underused and just objectively terrible to make them like, that would make the game much more dynamic, and it would pretty much open up different playstyles for all these civs, which I think would be quite nice. And of course the Abbasid, I mean, just if Abbasid had good camels, if like camel archers had their food reduced by like 60 or something like that, I think that the Abbasid would be a really, really cool, fun civ, like, because they're like on the brink of being really good, but they're just kind of like missing a few key elements. Anyways, rant is over. For Doubt, it looks like he's going to be getting aggressive. So he's sending archers across the map. So he's got one archer here, double archer range plus a blacksmith as well. Not a blacksmith. I always call the barracks blacksmith. I don't know why my brain does that. But spearman. And he's got fresh foodstuffs. So, you know, getting a little bit of an eco boom behind the pressure, which is nice. Going to be saving up some extra food. And I would imagine battering rams will be coming soon. Yeah, he's got a lot on lumber here. He's got only 2 on gold just to kind of passively move towards the Castle Age, or maybe get blacksmith upgrades at some point, like the Steeled Arrow or some of those other options, but it is going to be aggression here. And what is the Holy Roman response going to be? Okay, double archery range. So Kasva did indeed scout this, so he is quite aware of the schemes of his Abbasid opponent, and he is going to be preparing to meet it head on. So more and more archers popping out, 1 and 2. And is he making spearmen? He is not. So maybe he's going to wait till he sees a little bit of an indication of horsemen. I do like the blacksmith here from Kasva. I think that's quite good in these early engagements. Having 1 extra armor upgrade to mitigate, 1 damage off that 5 is actually really, really big, right? That's a 20% mitigation of damage, so certainly worth it. So we got 6 archers here, and honestly, the army of Kasva, he's been able to rally pretty well, so he certainly saw it coming. Is there going to be some sort of a switch? We do have the Steeled Arrow coming in, so nope, the aggression is going to be going pedal to the metal. We're getting a palisade set up on the wings of the base, which I like. That will prevent horseman run-bys or like flanks that you're not expecting, and if you're looking to play a more defensive eco playstyle, that's going to be good. What I also really like about the Abbasid aggression, though, is that it kind of pushes your opponent off pro scouts, because if your opponent doesn't respond with military, you're just going to steamroll them, especially with Abbasid getting the free battering rams. You can get in there really, really quickly, right? So I like that the pressure is here. Even if like the Abbasid were just to leave right now and be like, okay, I'm just going to go eco now, like I wouldn't feel terrible about that. The fact that it's forced to all of these military units, there's not going to be the pro scouts giving the Holy Romans just a crazy, crazy food boom. I think there's some benefits to that for sure. So one of the archers here in the back taking a little bit of poke. The Abbasid are working on upgrades of their own, probably waiting to get the Steeled Arrow before they engage. The spearmen are going to be a little bit useless, probably just going to get picked here, so 1 spearman does go down. Some of the Abbasid archers do pick off one of the Holy Roman archers, so they're going back and forth, a little bit of a duel of fates. So there goes that archer. How many archers do we have in total? It looks like it's about 10 on 10, so very even numbers. But there's a spearman and a scout who did eat a little bit of the DPS, so I think the Abbasid will maybe have a slight advantage here, although it looks like they might be losing this fight. Yeah, the Holy Roman's able to kind of pull this out. They got more and more archers pouring down. Archers for the Abbasid are coming as well. And overall, pretty good engagement for Kasva, although the numbers are looking very even now, and the reinforcements for the Abbasid do get there a little bit quicker. And behind all of this, you can see he's trying to set up some wooden palisades, which would be very nice for him. If he could get those set up, that would be a huge win for sure. It would force the battering ram like earlier, which I think is very, very good. So Holy Roman archers trying to poke back. I think their numbers are a little bit too low. I think Holy Romans are going to have to mix in some horsemen or something, or are they just going to go double archery range? So yeah, no, they're going even harder. So they have the quad archery range coming out, really just going to try and push back the Abbasid. Because all Abbasid can make in the feudal ages, obviously, is archers and spears. And archers are good against all of those things. So basically, just going quad archery range is the play. I thought it might be horsemen, considering that the spearman production has halted. Like, a surprise horseman flank could wipe this entire army, but horsemen do take... it takes some time to get that going, and he's already got the upgrades for the archers, so I think that is certainly the prudent decision. So the Abbasid aggression is on full effect. Is there any inkling that he's switching off it? Okay, wow, a big gold switch here. Is that going to be a Castle Age tech? Maybe so. Looking at the current resources, yeah, Doubt's going to be going Castle Age behind this, and that is really strong, because if the Holy Romans are obviously a little bit trapped up here in the old feudal ages, and you get Castle Age with the Abbasid, you're going to be able to just whip out a fat springald right on their face And that's going to be a problem. Spring Alts will pretty much hard counter this massive archer investment. Now, why is there no gold here for Kazva? It looks like he's not going for gold at all. He could go back here to be a little bit safer if he wants to, but I think he's really expecting this to be like an all-in from Dowd. But Dowd is actually just kind of feigning an all-in with a pretty convincing little force here, and is going to be actually moving up the Castle Age. So Castle Age will be here in just a second. Boom! It should be popped. There it is. And I would imagine, is it going to be economic or military wing? I would assume economic. Let's see if my guess is correct. So we got 14 archers for the Holy Romans against, how many, 9 or 10 or 11 actually. And man, oh man, I mean, this is looking good for the HRE in terms of this little scrap here, but really the Castle Age advantage for the Abbasid, being able to field engineer, is going to be crazy, crazy good. Yeah, they got deer camp set up. Holy Romans are just now getting back on gold. No prelate to motivate them. The Aachen Chapel positioning is okay. Yeah, I don't know. It's not the craziest Aachen, but he didn't really have any good options. Although he could have like gone for his gold and wood down here, but that's like an awkward position anyways. So yeah, a little bit tricky. But now the Holy Romans have the Abbasid on the run, so the archers are fleeing. Is there going to be any palisade set up? No, it looks like more and more archers coming out. I would assume one mangonel is going to be made in the base as soon as he hits Castle Age. So looking up in his base here, we do have the Castle Age coming in 1 minute and 8 seconds. I don't think the Holy Romans are going to be able to do any like huge devastating damage in that window. Are the palisades being finished? It does not look like it. And the archers really are on the hunt. Now, what is going on here in the base? We're probably going to be seeing men-at-arms coming out too. Men-at-arms backed up by upgraded archers will be very, very strong against this composition. And another blacksmith. Why do I always call that blacksmith? Another barracks is coming up. The barracks! It's a barracks! It is coming, and that is going to be probably pumping out men-at-arms like the heathen kings of old here in just a minute. Abbasid being forced back once again. Kazva himself is now approaching Castle Age. And, you know, Abbasid cannot rapid build their landmarks. They have to wait. Whereas the Holy Romans could rapid build a Regnant's Cathedral. And if they're able to get some relics, let's look at the relics here. So we got one here and all 3 on this side. So relatively neutral. I mean, there's one favored for the Holy Romans, one favored for the Abbasid, and then one that's still Holy Roman, one Abbasid, and one neutral. This is actually one of the more fair relic splits I've ever seen. Oftentimes they're like lopsided on one person's side, and it's pretty sad for sure. But are the Holy Romans going to get aggressive? I mean, we got 24 archers against 15. They certainly could. And a couple of the battle sheep are going to be left to their own devices here. The new age has begun. And the Abbasid archers, are they going to be building a mango? It looks like Doubt might not have the resources for it. He's a little bit tight on wood and is going to be forced back into his base. So now Kazva with some good aggression here. Certainly a strong timing. Even though he's an age behind, the score is still very even simply because of how powerful his military is. And let's go ahead and keep tabs on Kazva here to see if he's going to be advancing on to the next age. I would imagine so. And yes, we are getting the Regnant's Cathedral here in the back. So are there any prelates waddling out on the map to try and get a little bit of control? We will have to see in just a moment. Archers moving down to the south, probably to try and snipe off the scout. And I would imagine men-at-arms. Yeah, archers and double men-at-arms. Yep, that is the jam. Because like a single men-at-arms is going to be turning the entire dynamic of this fight. They're incredibly tanky with 3 armor, mitigating the damage of the basic archers down to like 3. That is really brutal indeed. But the Holy Romans are falling back in a little bit of a defensive posture now. I think he knows the Abbasid could build a mango. And also do have the men-at-arms, so taking the fight there would be a little bit silly. Now, what I'm really curious to see is the Castle Age choice here for Kazva. And it looks like it is indeed going to be the Holy Roman Cavalry. Now that he's hitting the Castle Age, he's pulled ahead of his opponent quite hardcore in terms of score. So it is going to be Lancers. And I feel like Holy Romans don't really go men-at-arms too much anymore. Granted, against this Abbasid army comp, I mean, maybe men-at-arms could be pretty good. Like with the maces, I feel like they would crush through the Abbasid men-at-arms in a little bit more of a cost-effective manner. But again, Lancers and Knights still do destroy men-at-arms pretty effectively, unless they're the Holy Roman variant. In the base here, we got more upgrades coming out. Yes, there is going to be the balanced projectiles getting the more ranged upgrades. The Holy Roman's moving out, trying to get a little bit of poke, but the men-at-arms able to tank that pretty darn well. And are we seeing the triple Knight yet? I don't think so. Maybe he's a little bit gold tight. We have a prelate bringing back a relic here and one here as well. So that's really good. I mean, as long as Regnants can get like 2 relics, you're going to be sitting pretty cozy in terms of producing gold-intensive units for the rest of the game. But the Abbasid really getting super aggressive here. Is Doubt banking any resources? It does not look like he's banking enough for any big artillery. Pretty good little wood economy. He did just upgrade his lumber mill, or update, I should say, getting a little bit closer to the wood line. So that's a tip for anybody who's newer to the game. As you cut deeper into the forest, you want to build a new lumber camp to have more efficient drop-off points. But the Abbasid are going pedal to the metal, man. They're moving in, looking to fight. And are we getting our first knights out? We are getting our first knight. So the first handful of the bad boys will be here. Both sides do have the veteran archers at this point. And I don't know how this fight's going to go. I feel like with like 3 more knights, the Holy Romans would probably steamroll this army. Like they'd be able to snipe out the archers and really just leave the men-at-arms to just get kited and kind of dragged around the map. And now it looks like the Abbasid are going to be falling back a little bit, maybe teasing a fight there, but for the most part, yeah, not having a great time as the Holy Roman Knights do get in. A little bit of a turn, but you can see they tank those archers like absolute champions, and one of the men-at-arms does go down as well, so certainly a nice trade, although one knight is at about half health right now. Granted, some of the prelates here on the back could get some nice healing, and we have another prelate grabbing this juicy relic here, and he's going to be bringing that bad boy back to the base. So Holy Romans are suddenly in a very commanding position with the Regnitz Cathedral being online, and the fact that the Abbasid did not go for a second TC like they usually do. Certainly going to be changing things up, but I do like that Doubt knows this. Maybe he heard me through the echoes and winds of time. Sees the past, present, and future here. But the mining camp, I'm going to be getting some stone, and I would imagine a second TC will follow up behind this pressure. Now we do have one mangonel. That's going to be changing the dynamic of this fight very heavily. The knights might be able to move in and snipe it. I would imagine crossbows are getting mixed in. So yeah, we have crossbows for the Abbasid, which are really good against knights. In the most recent patch, of course, which was felt like a year ago, even though it was like a couple months ago. But it does give you +9 bonus versus heavy. So you are going to be able to drop some serious shots right there as well. More and more knights coming out. The old gold vein, nice and veiny, looking a little bit worn down. Gold in the base for the Abbasid, or excuse me, the Holy Romans, not too bad. They got 2 big veins here, and also with Regnitz, like you can afford to be pinned in your base for quite some time. But we got a first Royal Rumble. Oh, the double Mangonel shots. That's going to be big. Huge AoE damage on those archers as the knights do pile in, but I think the Mangonels are going to be the big difference maker. A couple Holy Roman crossbows as well. Some of the units are being split. And look at this. We do have a prelate moving into combat as well. He's going to be trying to get the big old Wolo low on these forces. And a nice movement there by Kazva. Are we going to see it? Is this a mistake? Or is there going to be a Wolo low to cut off the retreat? That'd be so funny. Oh my god. But both Mangos do die in the end. And the Holy Romans pull out a little bit of a better situation there. I think it was a miss micro. So yeah, looks like that relic is going to be offered up to the Abbasid. However, he should be able to get that back. But the knight numbers are getting a little bit lower. More and more knights are trickling in. But the Abbasid sustainability here is holding firm as the crossbows continue to drag down the heavy knights. And without the knights, the men-at-arms, of course, able to really run rampant here in this particular fight. And this appears to be a comeback from the Abbasid. I really thought it looked like they were losing that fight when their artillery got sniped. But the Holy Romans are going to be forced back onto the back foot here. Farms are being set up. Okay, we actually have a food problem here. The deer camp out in the front is kind of being a little bit compromised by this fight. We have another Mangonel coming up, and the Holy Romans are panic building farms, which is always a rough thing to do. That's how you know you're really on the back foot here. Okay, so the food planning is tough. There are some berry bushes over here, which I think would be a smart choice to go hit to make sure to maintain your food. Looking at the income per minute, Doubt is quite far ahead on food. Gold is relatively even. Doubt also getting stone. And do we have a second TC coming up at the moment? No, we have the mosque, so some relics are going to be grabbed. I do not think we see a second TC, although I think it's very much on the table. And that's very impressive. Like, behind this pressure, he's going to be potentially having some very good macro as well. So the first ram is coming in. Knights also pushing. I feel like men-at-arms, honestly, with maces, could have been really dominant in those fights. But the Knights do take some time to come out. And of course, the Knights are very strong as well. I'm very biased. I just really like the HRE men-at-arms. They're probably one of my favorite units in the whole game. But probably not going to be great. Both these players are exponentially better than myself. So we'll see what they do. Men-at-arms pushing up, taking a little bit of poke. The Mangonel is probably going to want to retreat before it gets swarmed here by these Knights. Knights might be able to overwhelm this force now. The Abbasid might have overstayed their welcome a little bit long after that kind of minor victory they had there. And the Mangonel is just kind of hustling. We do have a prelate who just came out of nowhere with the steel chair and grabbed the sacred site. Now going to be moving up and trying to grab this relic, but I think the men-at-arms should be able to kind of hunt him down. But look at this, the Holy Roman Knights pushing it back. A very good back and forth scrap between these two players. More archers moving in, taking a giant shot right on the middle of their center mass. The prelate should be able to get this, and another Mangonel is going to be going down. That's pretty rough for sure. Crossbows also being harried and chased. And the Imam going to be moving over to maybe grab this relic up on the north side. Was he able to get any relics so far? Let's look at the mosque. Yeah, he got one. But the Holy Romans overall are going to be winning on the relic game as they do get that. And Kazva is going to be dragging that back to his base right now. So look in the base, battering ram still going after the TC, but the villagers here are going to be torching that down. Kazva pretty much has no food income, so despite the fact that he's a little bit up on score and did have some nice victories right there, not having food for this period of time could be a potential opportunity for your opponents to get back in the game. Also, I think deleting the lumber camp and houses here just like right on the north side of this this Aachen Chapel and setting up like farms all over the place, I think would be a huge option for him. But again, I don't like deleting houses. It's always like an awkward thing to get supply blocks. So yeah, more and more crossbows and just infantry coming out. The food advantage really starting to show as he's constantly able to produce military, whereas the Holy Romans had to stop for quite some time. But now they're able to produce again. Regnant's Cathedral is here. They can also use the market to balance their economy, so they could just, buy some food if need be in panic situations. And I wouldn't hate some Holy Roman artillery as well, like maybe seeing a couple spring alts considering the prevalence of the mangoes. So a bunch of villagers coming up, and ooh, the aggressive keep. I like this. Trapping the Holy Roman Empire in their base a little bit. So if the Holy Romans want to come out, get some gold here, they might run into some serious problems. And this is being done in conjunction with really good sacred control here from Doubt. So he's grabbing the sacred site here and here. And now we got the men-at-arms as well as the spears and crossbows moving up. Holy Romans still got those palisades from the Dark Ages just kind of chilling there, or feudal ages. So those palisade, attempts might be built here. We have a villager coming out. Yes, it looks like Kazva is going to be going for the build here, but alas, that villager will be paying the iron price as it is blasted. Keep is being built, and the gold veins are very well secured for the Abbasid. So the Abbasid obviously don't have any fancy tricks for getting free gold, right? They have relics, sacred sites, and can get trading going in the late game, but they don't have like a Regnant's Cathedral. They don't have a Chinese taxation system, Ruse hunting cabins. They have to mine gold the good old-fashioned way. So here, getting control of these big gold nodes and forcing the Holy Romans to either build artillery or bust is, I think, very strong. So yeah, the Holy Romans might win this fight here, potentially. It's going to be a very scrappy one. I think actually the army for the Abbasid. Oh no, but a little bit of a missed micro there. He didn't have the proper attack move. A big mango shot, able to pop down a couple units, and the knights are starting to struggle because of the spearmen being mixed in. So yeah, the pure knight army comp seems to be really thirsty for some men-at-arms. And now I think my bias is actually justified. I do think having the men-at-arms here would be very good. Granted, they do go down to crossbowmen as well, but they would be able to be more numerous and cheaper and maybe bunker bust through and wouldn't be as vulnerable to the spear position. So yeah, Kazva's really on the back foot now. The sacred sites have been taken by Doubt across the board, and he does have the new objective to neutralize the sacred site, which is certainly going to be a very tough ask for sure, as the crossbows here for the Holy Romans make a valiant defense. Is he going to be switching up and getting more military infrastructure? It looks like it's just crossbows and knights, which is a very gold-intensive army, but again, Holy Romans can certainly afford that. Prelates have been pulled from the main base to drop some heals, and an outpost is coming up as well. If Holy Romans could get to the Imperial Age and get that sweet villager printer via the big old, the Palace of Swabia? Yeah, it's Swabia. And then there's Elsbach, which is like the keep, which is pretty cool, but typically it's never used because of how good Swabia is. But yep, Holy Romans dropping some crossbow fire. The aggressive keep coming in from the Abbasid, so man, just getting super crazy with their stone here. And did we ever see that second TC? It doesn't look like it. Actually, the stone in the end appears to have just been used for keeps and map control, which, not a bad idea by any stretch of the imagination. It's been a really good combination of constant pressure in conjunction with, decent economic backing and map control, which I like quite a bit. So Holy Romans really on the back foot here. I mean, to keep in their base, I don't think they can really afford artillery. I mean, they're going to have to set up a siege workshop at some point. I don't see anything from Kazva. I mean, this is really oppressive. Might even hit the edge of his farms here. It's threatening his lumber line, because then the Abbasid can move into the lumber line here and have cover. So if the Holy Romans want to fight them, they're going to be getting blasted by a keep. And yeah, that is brutal. Oh my god, because this is the only lumber available for the Holy Romans unless they want to go for a secret agent lumber camp out on the flanks, which of course is very viable. And look at this, another keep coming in. Man, oh man, right on top of the farms. That has got to be GG. That was a great game. Well played about Doubt and Kazva. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that one. I really had quite a bit of fun seeing the Abbasid actually have a really good, successful game, because man, oh man, I have to say, I've been kind of scouring through replays of high-level players, and it is very tough to find Abbasid wins, but that was a very good one. Good pressure. We had some siege engineering. We saw the fresh food stuffs coming into play, but not for the double TC. The fast castle threat. Lots of neat stuff for sure. So GG, well played to those champions. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that game, and ladies and gentlemen, we will be back with more content soon. Take care of yourselves.